Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello heroes, how it's going? I hope you are always fine there and God bless you. Amin. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anita Fajriyah. You can call me Anita. I'm currently studying at Pamulang University and my major is English Literature. I create this video to fulfill the drama assignment for the final test by my beloved lecturer, Miss Ruiz. So here, I will explain about the zoo story. Are you ready for the analysis? Let's start it. For the first, I will explain about the literary elements of plot statement. The first part of plot is expositions or initial word. And the story began with our starting with a Peter sitting or reading a book on the bench. Then Jerry came and started a conversation. Finally, they got to know each other. And Jerry promises to Peter to tell about his trip to the zoo. Waiting to find out the zoo, this story is a basis of for being in suspense in the play. He will take it. And this is a conversation between Peter and Jerry. Firstly, Jerry said, "I've been to the zoo," but here Peter didn't notice. And then Jerry said again, "I've been to the zoo. Mister, I've been to the zoo." Then Peter replied, "Sorry, you were talking to me?" And the second one is raising actions. There are a conflict and also a complications. In the increased actions begins when Jerry tells about his life, such as living in a flat, environmental conditions, and also different family from Peter. And this is a quotations where Jerry said, "What were you trying to do? Make sense out of things. Bring order. The old pigeonhole pit. Well, that's easy. I live in a brown store, rooming house on the Upper West Side between Columbus Avenue and Central Park West," he said. Next, climax. There is a crisis or turning point. So, the climax of the problem in this story is that when Jerry stabbed himself with a knife that's in Peter's hands. Jerry had planned this incident and thought that was a freedom. There's no quotation in this story, but there's a script. There's a script drama that shows the action wise. But before Peter has time to think what to do, Jerry tosses the knife at Peter's feet. After that, there's a bowling actions. After being stabbed, Jerry has a talking a little bit, but Peter runs away. The play went down and ends. And this quotations what Jerry said. "Thank you, Peter. I mean that. Thank you very much." But here Peter's mouth drops open. His I cannot move and his transfixed. "Oh, Peter, I was so afraid I'd drive you away," Jerry said. And the final part of the literary elements plot is a resolution. Resolution is when Jerry achieves his goals. Here is die and seek a freedom. At the time, the tensions began to dissipate as Jerry was dying. In sections, I will explain about literary elements of setting. And the first part that I can explain is setting of place. In the opening scenes, the first act, Peter is seated on the bench, stage right. He is reading a book. The zoo story is a long play in which nothing happens except conversation until the violent ending, and this is a quotation. In Central Park, a Sunday afternoon in summer, the present. There are two park fences, one toward either side of the stage. Let me continue to the setting of time. The setting of time in this play is on a Sunday afternoon, and also the weather condition at the time were summer, or we can call this is a sunny day with the quotations. It's Central Park, a Sunday afternoon, in the summer and present. And the next one is a setting of mood or atmosphere. The first theme of the zoo story has to do with absurdity and reality. During the beginning of the play, Jerry initiates a conversation with Peter and carefully chooses the topics with which Peter will be familiar, such as family and career. However, Peter soon begins insert to strange comment and questions what is on the surface between two strangers trying to get to know each other. By the end of the play, Jerry has managed to alter Peter's perceptions of reality that such an extent of Peter that becomes involved in the cycle fight over what he believes to be his apartments and in self-defense helps Jerry kill himself. This is the last part of setting. It means setting up context. Peter comes from upper social class while Jerry lower class, and this is the conversations or quotations between them. Jerry said, "The zoo? Oh yes, the zoo. I was there before I come here. I told you that." Saying what the dividing line between upper middle class and lower middle class, and then Peter replied with, "My dear fellow I," and then Jerry said again, "Don't do fellow." Hi, it's time to discuss later elements of characters, and obviously there are two main characters here, namely Peter and also Jerry. And immediately we can know each other of their characteristics. For your information, Peter is a publishing executive and family man in his early 40s. Peter embodies conventions and properties and seems to have achieved the American dreams. As we know, Peter's life was very calm and boring, but after meeting Jerry, his life became more interesting, and Peter doesn't offer us much to build things on. That's why you need Jerry to do the things like go to the zoo, poisons dog, and also stamps his life. If it's over just play about Jerry, at least something would happen. If it's over playing just play about Peter, well, as Jerry says, your vegetable, slightly nearsighted one, I think. Let's talk about Jerry. Jerry is an eccentric transient in his late 30s. Jerry lives in poverty on the Upper West Side and is profoundly lonely. The loneliness drives him to seek companionship from strangers. Jerry is certainly weird and disturbing, but on the other hand, he just needed someone to talk to and get to know what he and his life work, so that others could more fully appreciate his existence. Here, I will explain the later elements of gems. Based on the story that I read, I get a family. As we know, Peter had a complete family, whereas Jerry didn't. Actually, they envy each other in their lives, and this is a conversation between them. Jerry said, "You're married," and Peter said, "Why, certainly." Jerry said again, "And you have children?" And Peter said, "Yes, two." Next dance that I get is society class. As we know, Peter comes from a middle class, whereas Jerry is a pure. And this is a conversation where I mentioned before Jerry, "The zoo? Oh yes, the zoo. I was there before I came here. I told you that." Say what the dividing line between upper middle class and lower middle class. And Peter said, "My dear fellow I," and Jerry said, "Don't dare follow me." The third dance is philosophical viewpoint. It means the absurd. Peter went to the zoo because he's bored of his life, while Jerry went to the zoo because he wanted to find someone to talk. And finally, they met at the zoo, and this is the conversations between them. Jerry said, "I've been to the zoo," and Peter said, "Yes, I think you said so, didn't you?" And Jerry played again. You'll read about it in the papers tomorrow. If you don't see it on your TV tonight, you visit, haven't you? The last dance that I get is sexuality and sexual identity. Jerry turns out to be someone who likes the same sex, or we can call it homosexual, whereas Peter is heterosexual. And this is a conversation between them. Peter asks, "Two girls?" And Jerry said, "No. I wonder if it's sad and that I never see the little ladies more than once. I will never be able to have sex with or husband. I was a homosexual, homosexual." In these sections, I will explain about loneliness issue. All of the decisions Jerry makes in the zoo story are driven by primal drive to counteract his deep sense of isolation. His loneliness results not only from a lack of friends and family, but also from a deep intellectual loneliness, which he has built up over the years as he realized there is no one who truly understands and empathies with him. And this is related and suitable with the theory urban alienation. As American cities to continue to grow, people began to find that large cities ironically offered a bigger sense of community than small towns did. The social context helps explain Jerry's deep sense of loneliness, or although it can also be attributed to his eccentric personality. Finally, with going to the end of this story, I'll give my opinion or conclusion first, then you, okay? First, I would like to thank to Mr. ALBEE because his work to build this drama was successful. I'm very appreciated and would certainly like to invite my classmates or the other students to perform this drama in the future events. And also for my beloved lecturer, thank you so much for Miss Ruiz to giving us this assignment to take video for the final test. It's interesting, and thank you so much for entertaining us during the online class you hold. And I hope you are always fine there in the class too. I mean, by the way, my first impression when I read this drama was awkward, such as when Jerry approached Peter to show his way to the zoo. I thought, Jerry is a strange person, right? But it turns out after I reading some analysis on scripts of the play, I understand that there's a lot of moral value in the story, and we are as a humans should have more respect for those around us. Whatever he or she does to provide, we must appreciate it. And the last thing for Jerry, you shouldn't have to kill yourself because taking this road is not good. Isn't not the only solutions to the problem you're facing. Don't be proud of doing things you shouldn't, okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. It means then say goodbye bye. See you for the next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.